Hello and welcome to the Scanzano Sports Complex here in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. For this week in baseball, I'm Doug Stasuk, joined alongside our special guest, PBR New Jersey Director TJ Hunt. TJ, thanks for being here tonight, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is great. Can't wait to get started here.
Yeah, so Sunday night, not your typical Sunday night. So Super Bowl was last week, and so now, as they say, it's baseball season, man.
That's right.
So it doesn't necessarily feel it outside just yet, but we're getting there.
Yeah, slowly but surely.
Yeah, so tonight we're looking good. We're waiting to see some 2021s and 2022s from Scanzano Sports. And appreciate you making the drive down here because there's certainly a bunch of excitement, buzz, and energy in the room anytime the guy with the PBR jacket comes walking in.
No, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really excited. I love coming down here. This is a great facility, great organization. So I'm just really pumped to get going.
Yeah, so we've been doing a bunch of different drills over the past few weeks. We've seen some live hitting against live pitching. We've seen fielding. We've seen exit velo. Tonight we're going to focus, though, primarily on the pitchers. Quite a few nice arms that are in the stable for Coach Scanzano and his crew. And certainly for you, you're kind of in the middle of your season as well. So I kind of say that where the pitchers are just kind of getting going. All the coaches try to keep them shut down for a period of time, and now they finally get a chance to showcase a little bit of what they can do. But for you, I mean, man, you seem to have all these events going on week after week.
Yeah. We got, I think, about 5 scheduled for the winter. And next Sunday we have our big future games trials, so for 22s and 23s, which will give us our first look, kind of at the rising freshmen and the sophomores for the season. So who to kind of keep an eye on for our big national event, the future games, every August. And then a couple weeks after that, March 1st, is called the preseason All-State. So it's for 2020s, 2021s, and some 22s, and just a good glimpse of who the key varsity players will be for the spring. So, this is the time where, everyone gets a preview of who the key guys will be, coming this spring 2020 season.
And there's quite a few. The stable of players that you've been able to help identify and get opportunities at the next level, it truly is remarkable. For me, I constantly get asked the question of, well, how do I get on the map, and how do these coaches find me, and how do these coaches see me? And one of the biggest pieces is, hey, be a great player.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you don't have the work ethic and you're not willing to get into the gym and put in the extra cuts, I mean, you can't replace that.
Yep.
Secondly, hey, have a great season. Stick out for your high school team. But the piece that's the most important that most teams and most parents don't always seem to understand is the value of signing up for a program like PBR New Jersey because of the connections and the network that you've been able to develop over these years. And PBR is not just a state entity. I mean, it's a national organization.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that. I always tell people that we're a national platform with local roots. So we have our platform that extends all across the country, but we have guys that are truly on the ground in the state that know kind of the environment and how to go about maneuvering the state with their baseball. So it's definitely kind of a unique thing that we have with all the relationships that we build in each of the states, and it's gone well so far.
It really has. It's been tremendous for especially the groups down here in South Jersey. So for me, I've been fortunate enough to be a part and have kids that I've coached, my own son involved over the last couple of years. And the following, I think a lot of frustration sometimes in the typical, we'll call it, showcase type of environment is the parents look around and they say, well, where are all the coaches? Right? So, like, tonight's a perfect example. If you look around, there's no coaches because there can't be.
No,
there's an NCAA blackout period. But for the PBR events, they're able to showcase their talents, and it's encapsulated.
Yep.
So explain a little bit for people that maybe don't know how PBR works. So they sign up, they do the event, and then they perform, and after the event, what happens?
So we consider ourselves the largest independent scouting infrastructure in America. So we are truly the third party, almost the liaison between the player and the travel coach and the college coach. So you come to an event, you get your video, and you get your stats posted on your profile. You can insert your name on the profile to check out how you did. And what a lot of guys do is they take their profile link, they send it out to college coaches, say, hey, this is what I had at the PBR showcase. Here's my summer schedule. Here's my fall schedule. Let me know, what you think. So it's kind of just like what I like to call it the online resume for kids.
Yeah.
Just building, just showing them the basics of what you can do, in a baseball atmosphere, and then hopefully that college coach follows up with you either during the spring high school season or later on in the summer, just to give the college coach a little bit of that carrot.
Right. It's so important that on top of that, when they go into the profile, they can actually select and toggle what schools they might be interested in.
Sure.
So it kind of helps them almost like a Match.com to think, hey, I might have the talent to go to this level of school. Interestingly enough, I also think it provides a great barometer for kids to really judge and say, hey, well, I might have aspirations, hopes, and dreams of playing for the University of North Carolina, but not everybody can play for the University of North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so you start looking at, how do your statistics add up on not just a state level, but how do you compare it nationally? And that really helps them, I feel, gauge in terms of, well, what's their platform and what kind of level do they fall in? Are they looking at a D2? Are they looking at a D3? Or are they truly D1 caliber talent?
Yeah, I think a lot of guys in different states will go on the website and they'll search for a kid with similar kind of stats, if you will, and see, hey, where did this kid go? We had similar kind of body type, similar stats that we had at events. Where did he end up in, the 2016 grad class or the 2017 grad class? And it kind of helps you build that gauge, like you're saying, because a lot of kids don't really know. They have no idea how to go about it. Like you said, everybody wants to go to North Carolina or Virginia or Vanderbilt, but, that might not necessarily be the reality. So.
No, and it's so important that in baseball specifically, the other thing I feel is great, on PBR, you can go on and you look at some of these schools, and then you're able to cross-reference and say, well, how are they academically? Do my academics match? Am I going to be able to get some sort of scholarship opportunity or grants? It's one of those situations that some kids just overshoot that runway so much. It's not always kind of understood. Like they say, well, I can throw 89 and I got a great cutter and I got this great put-out pitch. Well, yeah, but your GPA says, to be continued or to be determined, and, you haven't taken your SAT yet. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit maybe about that too? Because you have so many college coaches that approach you, and it's, hey, I got eyes on this kid, and then they want you to qualify him.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a huge thing. I mean, grades matter. There's no doubt about it. And I think where a lot of people are misguided is that the majority of the money that you get in college isn't necessarily athletic scholarship. It's academic scholarship. Yeah. It's if you qualify for X grade point average or X SAT score, you get this much amount of money. So I actually recently wrote an article a couple weeks ago about something similar to this, where a lot of the majority of New Jersey college baseball players are playing in New Jersey or New York or Pennsylvania, just based on whether that's the state school and the NJAC, like the Rutgers Camden, or just the tuition costs, right? That it matters. Yeah. It really does.
Well, what else matters too? You talk about that regional feel to it. Most parents don't realize as well that there's budgeting for recruitment. Yeah. And some of these schools that are D2, D3, they don't have these huge travel budgets to be able to send their staff, which, oh, by the way, they're still only allowed to have 3 paid coaches. So PBR is another platform that really helps you take what needs to be seen to them. So they're able to go through a profile, look for, hey, I'm looking for a 2021 catcher. Yeah. Right. So I get to go through the 2021 catchers, see who's uncommitted, see who's relatively close, and maybe I go to a tournament. But even if I can't, more importantly, if they have 3, 4, 5 different events that they've done from PBR, they pull the player's profile, they can see their stats. And I think the other cool part is, too, you can see your growth. So, for you parents out there, players that are maybe at 2023, and you're like, well, is it too early to do a PBR event? The short answer is no, because you get to see that, hey, well, in the summer of 2019, maybe you had an exit velo that was 81, and then next thing you know, well, fall comes around, the exit velo jumps up to 84. The coaches love to see that pattern of growth.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it defines what type of athlete you are, A lot of guys like to call it does he have a high ceiling? Is he going to get there eventually? Are his movement patterns good, but he's just not strong enough yet to what you said? Like if he has an 81 mile per hour exit velo, or let's say he's 79 off the mound right now, but everything looks good, everything looks clean. He has to get a little bit stronger, and that's going to happen with a 15, 16-year-old kid going through high school.
Yeah, so. It's again, it's just so many different dynamics that you can utilize and leverage when it comes to PBR and the organization that you guys are and the national network. The other piece about it is, too, you're housed in New Jersey, but your basically your net that you cast is well beyond. You know, I don't think people realize how tight you are when it comes to the guys in PBR New York and the guys in PBR PA
Sure.
and some of the guys nationally. So how does that kind of work if you're looking for players and trying to share information?
Yeah, I mean, we see it all the time. You know, whether in the summertime especially, because there's a ton of tournaments that go on, right? You know, we're a national scouting service. That's what we pride ourselves on. We're scouting players. You know, if I'm at, let's say, like a Diamond Nation, or if I'm at another tournament in New Jersey and I see a team from PA that, you know, it's underclassmen, may or may not be seen yet, it's a short text away to text the Pennsylvania guy or the New York guy, say, hey, you know, Johnny Smith, this kid's pretty good. You might not have him ranked yet, but this kid was, you know, 85 as a freshman or going to be a sophomore. So, you know, it's regional, it's national, but it's, again, like I said, it's that local route that keeps us going.
Awesome. Well, again, Doug Stasuk here for This Week in Baseball, joined by PBR New Jersey Director TJ Hunt. We are at the Scanzano Sports Complex in Cherry Hill for another This Week in Baseball Roadshow Series winter training workout, and we are waiting on the pitchers. So TJ and I keep talking through. We have some of the 2021s and 2022s warming up, getting loose behind us. It's not always entertaining to watch guys stretch. And if you ever watch me stretch, it would look like a very painstaking and painful process.
Me and you both.
So, painful process. A lot of the guys out there that are high school players, TJ, they tend to torture themselves in pain where it's, hey, I want to be seen. I want to get to the next level and play some college ball, but they stress out over, well, you know, I had a great summer last summer, but I haven't gotten anybody to call me. Or I thought I had a great event and I was in this tournament and I was phenomenal, but I'm still not hearing anything. Can you give a little bit of advice to those guys out there and talk a little bit about the process and really how the impact of some of the new NCAA recruitment rules have probably changed the game a bit?
Sure. I mean, listen, the first thing about college baseball and recruiting is the player has to have some accountability and take it upon himself. So whether that's he goes to an event or he's at a tournament and he does well, he has to take that accountability to, you know, email the coaches and get in contact with them, because, you know, the reality of the matter is guys that, you know, are at schools in you know, Maryland or in Virginia, or if you want to go down that way, they're not going to know who you are. So it takes that, you know, almost like that handshake deal via email to say, hey, you know, this is what I did. My name's Johnny Smith, like I said. You know, I just did this, this, and this. Here's a contact. Look, you know, interested in your school. Looking forward to hearing back from you. And that goes a long way. It really does. Because, like you said, the recruiting calendar is limited. You know, college coaches want to be in a position where they can be in one spot but see as many players as possible. So that's why we see all these tournaments that are, you know, hundreds of teams with thousands of players. Well, yeah, they have a limited time to do it, and they're going to go and see the most, you know, the best bang for their buck that they can get.
So you mentioned tournaments. So this is something where your organization has evolved. You got these Mid-Atlantic events that are coming up this summer.
Sure.
And I know you've highlighted a bunch of different – I know you got a bunch of different teams that have stepped up to the plate, and they've been in a position that they're like, hey, instead of just our guys doing individual workouts, what else can you guys do? And so I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, so that was our big initiative in 2019, was kind of really getting a foothold in the tournament space. We actually took over the reins of Lake Point down in Georgia,
which is a phenomenal facility, man.
State-of-the-art facility. So that kind of like spearheaded our national kind of tournament landscape that we're creating. So we had a couple of events in the Mid-Atlantic area, two in I think Maryland, Salisbury, Maryland, that we had some in the fall and last summer. Doing that again this summer. And we're really trying to regionalize these tournaments and kind of, you know, blow it up more or less for the player and the teams, just to make it more valuable. As always, we have you know, our scouts on hand at every field, and you know, we're always doing evaluations for the players.
So I think where you guys stand out amongst so many other organizations is a degree of exclusivity, and that's not in a bad way. That means you want to have feedback and understanding of what's the talent level like across the team, not just one particular player or two, but what's the team talent level? You try not to fill it up to your point where it's like, hey, there's 1,000 teams playing.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to stand out from the crowd, especially these Mid-Atlantic events. You know, you sit there and the field is relatively small because you're getting that high quality. We always talk about it's not quantity, but it is quality.
Yep.
And I really admire that about the organization because that's not always the case. You know, like a lot of times it's like, well, anybody can kind of just fill out your registration form and you get in. But even from some of your PBR events for New Jersey specifically, you know, you track the kids that are putting in the work and that they're showing that they're making progress and that they're standout level players because it's the same thing. You have a limited amount of seats because you don't want kids to get lost in the crowd. You want to provide a platform they can stand out.
Yeah, I tell kids at every event that I go to or tournament that I'm helping out with, when we have like the downtime during the event, I'm from New Jersey. I grew up here. I went to high school and college and played professional ball in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So I'm all about promoting those guys because I went through it. I had my whole family went through it. I have a little brother in college that went through it. My older brother did the same thing. So it's kind of like in my blood to promote, to kind of pass it on to the next guy in New Jersey. So that's what I'm doing.
Oh, you're doing a fantastic job of it.
Appreciate it.
So speaking of your little brother, he's not that little, man.
I know, yeah.
He's a beast, right?
Little.
Mississippi State.
I should say, yeah, younger brother, not little. Yeah. Yeah, he's at Mississippi State now. I was actually texting him on the way down here. He threw well in the scrimmage today, so they're gearing up for the start of their season next week. And I'm actually heading down there in 2 weeks to Starkville. They're playing Oregon State for 3 games. So it'll be
that's
pretty
a heck
cool.
of a series.
Yeah, it'll be cool. So I'm excited for that.
Nice, man. So I'm being told, for those of you waiting with bated breath to see the 2021 and 22 pitchers, we have about 5 or 6 minutes remaining before they come out here. And we're really looking forward to it. So it's going to be a bit of an exclusive setup where we're not going to get into traditional nights where we usually see a lot of fielding, see glove work, footwork. Coach Scanzano has elected to just have the kids that are pitching and looking for an opportunity. So you're going to see pitchers, you're going to see catchers. We have a radar gun that's set up. So for everybody about what you're going to see, there's 2 mounds, and there's going to be 1 radar gun set up in the middle. So there'll be pitchers throwing from both mounds. But, again, there's only going to be 1 pitcher throwing at one particular time.
Sure. So
we really should get some good looks here. And in a couple minutes, we'll actually have Coach Scanzano join us. And so that should just be in a few more minutes for sure. So looking ahead to the summer, especially from the high school standpoint, you guys have been able to really just help kids get to a whole different level than anybody expected. So I guess you're in South Jersey, at least today. So you got a couple guys that I know that you helped pave the way for, one of them being Rob Reddy, who's an East Carolina commit. He'll probably be joining us at some point tonight because, again, that kid just never stops throwing.
Yeah.
So are there some guys out there right now, TJ, that kind of just jump off the map to you and say, hey, here's some real good South Jersey guys I'm looking forward to seeing?
I really want to. They're kind of interrupted the workout day on the first day. Second day he comes out, first inning of the first game, 94. It was just like, whoa, this kid's legit. Florida recruit. So 2 of those guys, or really 4 of the guys that I really want to see.
He's a freak of nature. I just saw him do a box jump that was like 5'2". He was down
crazy
over there at BPC with those guys, with Eddie Charlton and Mike Adams, and Chase. I've known the kid since he was in Little League.
Yeah.
This was back in the day when him and his brother Logan still lived in Millville, and he was always just that kid that just caught your eye, and you're like, man, this kid's gonna be something. And wow, has he? So he's actually parlayed great performance in a lot of your events, and now going forward, he got an invite to the Major League Baseball PDP.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Those are the kind of things that just like, wow, man, it really opens your eyes. But does he really get a chance to be seen if there wasn't a platform for him to elevate him to kind of stand him out amongst his peers across the country?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, a kid that good, maybe he does, but it certainly helps to go to some of those events.
Yeah, a couple other guys that have some big arms that are down here in South Jersey I was thinking about too, where I know they've done some of your events. You mentioned St. Augustine. Alex Hunt has been a kid that's just grinded it out, worked tirelessly to get better and improve and get bigger, stronger. Now he's finally coming together. There's an Iona commit. He's coming. So that one's huge. But the stable down there, you talk about mainland. Egg Harbor Township is another squad that seems to have a bunch of different arms down there.
Yeah. Ocean City too.
Ocean City.
Arms, so.
Yeah, and Cedar Creek got Luke Vax, Stephen Kainzik, and who else am I missing down there? Hageman, David Hageman.
Yep.
So those are guys that Cedar Creek, they've come a long way in a short amount of time. But again, it's what happened in terms of the summer that allowed them to stand out, because candidly, when you're in a program that maybe there aren't a bunch of scouts or they're not known to be that baseball powerhouse, it's like all of a sudden you turn your head and you're like, wait a second, all 3 guys are on the same team. I got to get out there.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and the common thread there is they're wearing black and red T-shirts more often than not when they're in the summer, right?
That's right. Well, I like to tell myself